Two tails, one head, yin yang. Two heads, one tail, young yin. Two heads, one tail, young yin. Two heads, one tail, young yin. Three heads, old yang. Two tails, one head, yin yang. Be reading a little bit from the Taoist Classics, Volume 3, in a section called Ancestor Wu, from Vitality, Energy, Spirit, which is a Taoist source book. This comprehensive anthology traces the teaching on the three treasures, vitality, energy, and spirit, through the long history of Taoism. Along with brief selections from the classic texts of Lao Tzu and Chuang Tzu, the book presents a rich selection of tales and sayings from Taoist literature, as well as a broad range of writings from the Complete Reality School. Sayings. The three treasures. The human body is only vitality, energy, and spirit. Vitality, energy, and spirit are called the three treasures. Ultimate sagehood and non-contrivance are both attained from these. Few people know these three treasures even by way of their temporal manifestations. What is inconceivable is their primordial state. Is it not lost? If you lose these three treasures, you are incapable of non-contrivance, and so are unaware of the primordial. The primordial. Not only is the primordial uncontrived, it has nothing to it that could be contrived. When you reach non-existence of even non-contrivance, there is no non-existence of non-contrivance, and so no non-existence of non-existence. This non-existence of non-existence is the primordial, yet the primordial contains everything. It is because there is the primordial that there is the temporal. The primordial of everything is one single primordial. The unique primordial is the primordial state of each thing, each individual, and thus it forms the temporal. Thus we get the three treasures. These three treasures are complete as a human being. Vitality. In heaven, vitality is the Milky Way. It is the light of the sun, moon, and stars. It is rain and dew, sleet and hail, snow and frost. On earth it is water, streams, rivers, oceans, springs, wells, ponds, and marshes. In people it is vitality, the root of essence and life, the body of blood and flesh. Energy. In heaven, energy is substance and form, yin and yang, the movement of the sun, moon, and stars, the processes of waxing and waning. It is clouds, mist, fog, and moisture. It is the heart of living beings, evolution and development. On earth it is power fuel, the pith of myriad beings, the source of mountain streams. It is life-giving and killing, activating and storing. It is the passage of time, flourishing and decline, rising and falling, sprouts and sprout sheaths. In humans, it is energy, physical movement, activity, speech, and perception. It is use of the body, the gateway of death and life. Spirit. In heaven, spirit is the pivot, the true director, the silent mover. It is the essence of the sun, moon, and stars. It is the wind blowing, thunder pealing. It is compassion and dignity. It is the force of creation, the basis of the origin of beings. On earth, it is ability, communion, opening. It is the shapes of myriad species, mountains and waters. It is peace and quietude, the source of stability. It is calm, warmth, and kindness. In humans, it is the spirit, the light in the eyes, thought in the mind. It is wisdom and intelligence, innate knowledge and capacity. It is the government of vitality and energy, awareness and understanding. It is the basis of the physical shell, the foundation of the lifespan. Stabilizing vitality. The three treasures are not easily obtained. Since they are not easy to obtain, how can we not take care of them? They are to be taken care of, and this is accomplished by purity and tranquility, not agitating the vitality, not letting it leak, so that it abides peacefully in its original home, true to reality as it is, circulating 361 times in a day and night, returning to its original home, true to its own nature, immutable, forming the stabilizing ingredient of the elixir of immortality. Guarding energy. Vitality is always controlled by energy. Once energy runs outside, vitality eventually leaks out. Therefore, to stabilize vitality, one should guard the energy. How is energy to be guarded? This requires freedom from craving, clear openness and serenity, not acting impulsively. The energy is to be placed in the mysterious pass, where it is brought to be nurtured and calmed. Always free, the energy is then unified, whole, unfragmented, all-pervasive, without gaps. After the energy is thus developed, it is brought down to merge with the vitality, unobstructed, like water and milk blending into one. Then the medicinal ingredients of the great elixir are naturally completed. Now just add the firing, and the effect will appear in the crucible. Preserving spirit. The firing is the spirit. Vitality cannot be concentrated except by energy, but vitality and energy cannot be operated without the spirit. To stabilize the vitality and nurturing the energy is just a matter of preserving the spirit. In the work of preserving the spirit, it is important to stop rumination, with nothing coming out from within and nothing coming in from outside. With all signs of emotion gone, one plunges into a state of boundlessness, lightness, blissful fluidity, tranquil independence. Emergence of the spirit. When the spirit is preserved in this way, it abides in its chamber. The chamber of the spirit is in the alchemical storehouse. Once the alchemical storehouse is firmly secured, the spirit is calm and collected, controlling and operating the vitality and energy. Thereby it crystallizes the great elixir, which is in the form of an infant resembling oneself. This then emerges from the forehead to travel through the universe. In the interval of an exhalation and inhalation, it travels unhindered through the 10 directions, inconceivably serene and content. If you stick to this, however, and do not hear of the great way or meet real people, you will be affected by 3 calamities. Then if you do not awaken, the accomplishment that has been achieved will all go to waste. The 3 calamities. What are the 3 calamities? One is called the hard wind. The hard wind is sharp, cutting, and piercing. It enters through the forehead and penetrates the bones and joints, right down to the bottom of the feet. The limbs and hair fall apart, becoming wispy threads floating about loose. If the hard wind cannot invade you, then there is a poisonous fire, which rises from below and enters through the top of the head, attacking the internal organs and burning the limbs. The pores and the hairline are instantly turned into ashes. If your achievement is not harmed by this wind and fire, then it can be said to be consummate unless you still have not learned the way. Then there are 5 thunders, each with accomplishments which circle and attack. Each with accompaniments which circle and attack. As long as you have not learned the great way, the vital spirit will scatter in a moment, never to stabilize and unify. Therefore, it is imperative to study the great way, for if you do not study the great way, you cannot escape these 3 calamities and will lose your 3 treasures. So it is only people of understanding who know this, and therefore go in search of elevated real people who will teach them the great way, so that they can be forever free from the 3 calamities. The great way. The great way is very difficult to express in words. Because it is hard to speak of, just look into beginninglessness. The beginninglessness beginning. When you reach the point where there is not even any beginninglessness, and not even any non-existence of beginninglessness, this is the primordial. The primordial way cannot be assessed. There is nothing in it that can be assessed. What verbal explanation is there for it? We cannot explain it, yet we do explain it. Where does the explanation come from? The way that can be explained is only in doing. What is doing? It is attained by non-doing. This non-doing begins in doing. Doing. How is doing applied? To study its application, one must ask the autonomous mind. The autonomous mind is imbued with great understanding. It observes the changes of movement and stillness of yin and yang, looks to absolute yang and emulates its firm action, looks to absolute yin and communes with its process. The autonomous mind also studies the 4 seasons and models itself on their cycle. Silently comprehending the ultimate, it plumbs the original source. Thus extensively observing all processes of creation and evolution, sitting calmly with the mind in trance, the energy of trance exists alone. Calm sitting exists alone. Now there is nothing whatsoever in the autonomous mind, and the infant resembling the self that was previously cultivated and crystallized by the alchemical elixir, communes with heaven and earth. Transmission. It is necessary, however, to seek the guidance of elevated real people. If you do not meet real people who can point out the refinements and subtleties, you will not understand the great way. In that case, whatever you understand will still be superficial, and you will ultimately fail to attain the mysterious profundities. If you do not attain the profundities, how can you understand the great way? So we know that the great way requires us to seek true transmission. This true transmission is received individually from a teacher. There is an opening up in the darkness, resulting in clear understanding. Once you are capable of clear understanding, you eventually realize the hidden mystery. Upon realizing the hidden mystery, you know the great way. This is called having knowledge and is regarded as attainment. When you attain this ultimate mystery, then non-doing is finally possible. Understandings and worthy deeds. Even if you have attained non-doing, you should still carry out undertakings, fulfilling them and realizing their proper results. After many undertakings, you should accomplish worthy deeds, fulfilling them completely and realizing their proper results. Those whose worthy deeds are great realize great fruits of their causes. They may become incorruptible immortals and take their places in the ranks of the celestials, or they may remain in the human world as masters of all things, or they may live in a state of pure bliss. Those whose worthy deeds rank next also lie in highest heaven as non-doing immortals, roaming in ecstasy, or they may live on special mountains, or they may travel in the polluted world as guides to the way. Those whose worthy deeds are shallow abide eternally in natural settings, among the springs and rocks, unborn and undying, forever free from the three calamities. Some know that there is a distinct order in learning the way. There is neither difficulty nor ease, but for the proper results look to deeds and undertakings. The deeds and undertakings accumulated each produce their proper results, but if you want the proper results, you must learn the great way. Order on the way. If you want to learn the great way, you must value the three treasures. Without the three treasures, you cannot live long, and deep attainment cannot be reached in a limited time, so you will not learn the great way. Without learning the great way, there is no purpose to accumulating deeds, so deeds thus accumulated are not great achievements. If you immediately think of the elevated sages and thereupon grasp the great way without establishing great works or fulfilling great undertakings, it is as though you have gained nothing. Entering the way. Observe what people who arrived did to enter the way. They strove mightily, as if they feared they wouldn't reach it, and looked all over for elevated real people to teach them the mysterious wonder. Plunged into danger, they were not cowed. Plunged into difficulty, they were not disturbed. Faced with obstacles, they were not confused. Confronted with hardships that refined them, they had no regrets. Such was their sincerity that they moved the real people to teach them the essential, and thus they were able to attain penetrating understanding without distortion. Then they came back and sat, silently carrying on mystic work, gazing above and examining below, realizing the mystery of mysteries. Yet they still did not become complacent. They mixed in with the ordinary world and carried out various undertakings and performed various deeds in the cities, towns, and villages. Thinking their works were still shallow, they made yet broader commitments to carry out unlimited undertakings and accomplish unlimited deeds. They vowed that all people through the ages, those with knowledge and those without, would hear of the great way and ascend to the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal. So this undertaking could not be finished even in 10 million eons. If this were ever fully accomplished, it would be truly supreme, reaching non-doing, reaching to where there is not even any non-doing. This non-doing is coexistence with heaven and earth, but not coterminous. This is because both heaven and earth are created, and they consist of that which is created, so they must end. Because heaven does something, it too must suffer wastage. People who have arrived on the way have no doing, and non-doing cannot suffer wastage or aging. These ultimate people exist before heaven and earth exist, and emerge once heaven and earth come to exist. While heaven and earth wear out, these ultimate people are safe. This is very subtle indeed. I can hardly describe such ultimate people. But in the final analysis, all people are like this. How are they like this? Because of the primordial. The primordial is inherent in everyone. The primordial and the acquired. People have the primordial, but are mostly unaware of it. What is the reason for this? Is it because while there is the primordial, there is also the acquired? Since there is that which is temporarily acquired, there are 6 organs of sense. Once there are sense organs, they produce 6 consciousnesses. What are the 6 organs? One is the eye. This eye organ looks at color and form and produces various states of mind that obscure the primordial. Another is the ear. This organ listens to sounds and produces various states of mind that obscure the primordial. Another is the mouth, which utters judgments that produce various states of mind that obscure the primordial. Another is the nose. This organ smells odors and produces various states of mind that obscure the primordial. Another is the tongue. This organ tastes flavors and produces various states of mind that obscure the primordial. Another is the body. This experiences situations and produces various states of mind that obscure the primordial. Therefore, these 6 organs are called the 6 robbers. If you want to learn the Great Way, first remove the 6 organs. As long as the 6 organs are not removed, they produce wrong consciousness. Removing the 6 organs. How are the 6 organs removed? In ancient times, they were adepts who knew the way to remove them. They did not dwell on any objects of sense. They saw without using their eyes, heard without using their ears, shut their mouths and withdrew their tongues, being like imbeciles all day long. They breathed from their heels, set their bodies aside unused, and performed all actions by the operation of the Spirit. In this way, the 6 organs were all there, yet it was as if they did not exist. If one does not have the 6 organs, how can bad tendencies arise? There being no such tendencies of consciousness, as a result, there is no obstruction. There being no obstruction, the mind is at peace. With the mind thus free from defilement and attachment, you set up the furnace and put in the 3 treasures. They can crystallize the great elixir, because that is what is produced by their conjunction. Making the elixir. Using real knowledge, harmony, and awareness, combine them with the 3 treasures. When the 3 become one, the great elixir is made. Once you have made the great elixir, essence and sense submit, and the earthly and celestial are in their places. It is necessary, however, to seek elevated real people to indicate to you the hidden subtleties in order that the proper results be attained. Our first trigram is solid, broken, broken. Which is Zen thunder. Thunder is shock, upheaval, and the spark of the new. In old Chinese belief, thunder slept in the earth over winter and erupted from it in spring, awakening living things into new growth. Thunder is our basic drive for renewal. He inspires initiative and decisive action. He is the stimulus that sets things in motion. He is the eldest son in the trigram family, the first connection of heaven, potential, with earth, realization. Yang makes itself known here, emerging into the field and beginning to grow. Thunder belongs to the east and to spring. And we will read our top or outer trigram as broken, solid, solid in our primary hexagram. Our old yang line will transform into a young yin, so it will give us a supporting hexagram that whose top or outer trigram is read as broken, broken, solid. Broken, solid, solid is the trigram. Xun, wind or wood. Xun is both wind and living plants. Whatever penetrates, spreads, and grows, shaping itself to the space available, or shaping that space to its own nature. She is responsive flexibility, sensitively improvising and adapting. Like the wind, she can always find a way through because she never creates any resistance. And so her influence is subtle and gradual, but far-reaching. In the family of trigrams, Xun is the eldest daughter, gentle and submissive. She belongs to the southeast and to late spring and early summer. Once that transforms to broken, broken, solid, it'll be Gen Mountain. This is what Xun, wind, and wood looks like. And this will be after that changing line transforms to young yin. Gen Mountain. The mountain is still. It is a limit where you must stop. Gen brings each cycle to an end, defining a space where we can recognize, assimilate, and complete our experience. He creates a personal still center amid change, where we can retreat for perspective and a firm foundation for new growth. He is well-grounded, confident, and of independent spirit. He is still and knows. Mountain is the youngest son, child of maturity. In the cycle of directions and seasons, he is the northeast, late winter, approaching spring, the pivot between cycles. So we will have as our primary hexagram wind or wood above thunder, and once it transforms, it will be mountain above thunder. Which will give us hexagrams 42, and as a secondary hexagram, 27. We will start by reading from I-ming's Taoist I Ching, which he wrote as a Taoist adept in 1796. 42 and 27. 42 is increase, entering the Tao gradually, without either rushing or lagging, increasing the positive while decreasing the negative. And 27, lower jaw, nourishment. Discernment of good, becoming empty to seek fulfillment. Out of the Taoist teaching. Increase. For increase, it is beneficial to go somewhere. It is beneficial to cross great rivers. Explanation. Increase is adding what is lacking. As for the qualities of the hexagram, above is wind, entering, and below is thunder, active. Acting so as to enter gradually, entering without either rushing or lagging. It is therefore called increase. This hexagram represents using reduction in the midst of increase. It follows on the previous hexagram, liberation. In liberation, the yang energy is active and gets out of danger, gradually growing and maturing, adding good that is lacking. However, to increase good is not possible without reducing what is not good. Increasing good and decreasing what is not good, increasing and increasing again, reducing and reducing again, until there is no more increase or decrease possible. Finally reaching the state of utter good without evil, one is then done. Therefore, it is beneficial to go somewhere. Since beginningless time, people have accumulated faults and defects, the seeds of habitual compulsion growing deeper as time goes on. Now, if they want to do something of benefit to essence and life, they cannot accomplish this unless they first extract the seeds of these compulsive habits. But the seeds of habitual compulsions cannot be removed all at once. There are processes, procedures. This does not admit falsehood. It requires orderly progress, putting forth effort at every step, increasing the mind of Tao, decreasing the human mentality, increasing sane energy, decreasing aberrated energy. Only when there is such reduction within increase is it possible to succeed, to make it beneficial to go somewhere. The benefit is simply in one's practice producing beneficial phenomena. But to practice what is beneficial, it is important to have a beginning and a conclusion. If there is a beginning but no conclusion, one's acts are still of no benefit. There is no gain but loss. Therefore, the way of gain and beneficial action lies in concentrated will, making thoroughly dedicated effort, made from within difficulty and hardship. Only when one has dissolved the seeds of compulsive habit of time immemorial will one be able to restore one's original being. Therefore, it is also beneficial to cross great rivers. Great rivers are extremely dangerous. There, one's life hangs in the balance. If one can go through extremely dangerous places, then wherever there is no danger, one is at an advantage. According to the qualities of the hexagram, acting so as to progress harmoniously, gradually applying effort without rushing or lagging, this is the path of increasing and decreasing according to the time. And 27, lower jaw, nourishment. How our primary hexagram we just read relates to our secondary hexagram, which we're about to read, to give us an answer to our general question of how can I act in creative relation with the spirits or forces shaping this moment in time. To give us our answer, the key to understanding a reading is to know your way around its main components, how they fit together, and the different roles they play. If your reading includes changing lines, then you will need to understand primary hexagram, relating hexagram, and changing lines together. The two hexagrams in conversation with one another map out your whole answer. The primary hexagram shows you quite directly what your answer involves. The relating hexagram generally describes what the answer is about for you. It sets the primary hexagram in a broader context, an influence, a direction of travel, an underlying issue that has to do with you and your relationship to it all. If the two hexagrams map out a landscape for you, then the changing lines stick a pin in that map to say you are here, or at least here are some places you may find yourself. They are the immediate answer to your question. As the most specific, focused part of a reading, their message always takes precedence over all other elements. For example, the primary hexagram might describe a reassuringly secure situation, but a changing line could warn how insecure your position is within it. Hexagram 27, lower jaw, nourishment. In nourishment, it is good to be correct. Observe nourishment and seek fulfillment for the mouth by yourself. Explanation. The lower jaw moves whenever the mouth eats something. From that, it has the meaning of nourishing people. As for the qualities of the hexagram, above is mountain, still, and below is thunder, active. Action does not depart from stillness. Stillness nurtures action. Action is not random. Stillness is not vain. Action and stillness unified, it is therefore called nourishment. This hexagram represents choosing good and holding fast to it, becoming empty to seek fulfillment. It follows on the previous hexagram, fidelity. Fidelity involves strong action. Without the work of care and nurturance, action and strength cannot be appropriate, and fidelity thus errs. This is why the path of nourishment is important. Nourishment means nourishing what is right and getting rid of what is not right. What is right is beneficial to body and mind. What is not right is harmful to body and mind. Therefore, the path of nourishment requires correctness to be good. So if you want nourishment to be correct, first you must observe whether the way of nourishment is true or false. Observing does not mean looking with the eyes. It means distinguishing in the mind what is so and what is not so, in order to find out truth. When truth is clear, then with real knowledge and lucid perception, in action one cultivates what is right, and in stillness one nourishes what is right. When one attains what is properly nurtured in both action and stillness, one can thereby seek fulfillment by oneself. It does not say seek food for the mouth, it says seek fulfillment for the mouth. It does not merely say seek fulfillment for the mouth, it says seek fulfillment for the mouth by yourself. This means what is sought is what is right, and what is fulfilled is what is important. It is not a matter of rich food, it is a matter of benevolence, justice, and enlightened qualities. But the way to fill oneself with benevolence and justice and taste enlightened qualities is all in seeking by oneself, not relying on others. One day when you conquer yourself and return to true order, the whole world will revert to humanity. If you seek fulfillment, you find fulfillment. If you seek food, you find food. It is simply a matter of what you seek for yourself. The mouth is something empty inside. Fulfillment means satisfying, filling. Emptying the mind, filling the belly, emptiness and fullness correspond. When the time calls for action, you act, actively furthering yang. When the time calls for stillness, you remain still, quietly using yin. Cultivating the external by action, nurturing the internal by stillness. Unconstrained by action or stillness, inwardly and outwardly merging with the Tao. Stillness as ever nurturing, action also nurturing. Action and stillness consistently correct. Ultimately, one can perfectly attain the great Tao, auspiciously completing it. Those who consider the harm of hunger and thirst to be harmful to the mind all nurture the small and lose the great. This could be called seeking food by oneself, but it could hardly be called seeking fulfillment by oneself. Once one has lost true fulfillment, how could it be called nourishment? We had a changing line of line 5, the place of the ruler, the line with the circle in it. And so this will give us our most focused part of our reading. Line 5 of increase, hexagram 42. When there is truthfulness and a benevolent heart, there is no need to ask. It is very auspicious. Truthfulness and benevolence are charismatic qualities in oneself. Explanation. When positive strength is correctly balanced, the great way is completed, and one is integrated with the celestial design. It can be trusted that the benevolent heart is therein, and there is the auspicious good fortune of fundamental goodness. The benevolent heart is the innately good heart. When the innately good heart is always present, one looks upon myriad things as one body, and sees others and self as one family. Then each word, each action is beneficial to the world. The mind of a person of the Tao also can be trusted to have the charismatic quality of benevolence. Once one has a benevolent heart, one also has the charismatic power of benevolence. It is like the wind blowing on things, all flying up. This represents those with status aiding and benefiting people without borrowing the power of others. We will also read further commentary on hexagram 42 and 27. Increase 42. Wind above, thunder below. Wind and thunder increase. Thus do superior people take to good when they see it, and correct whatever faults they have. Increase is augmentation and enhancement. Above is wind, and below is thunder. This is wind and thunder meeting. When thunder rolls, wind rises. The sound of wind enhances the thunder. This is the image of increase. What superior people see in this is that to increase goodness, it is necessary to reduce faults, and to reduce faults, it is necessary to increase goodness. Increase requires reduction. Reduction complements increase. So the increase has no end. Therefore, when they see good, they take it. and when they have faults, they correct them. When people are first born, they are totally good, without evil. That is, goodness is inherent in people, while faults are originally non-existent in people. It is because they are unaware of good that they have faults. If they take to good when they see it, and continue to move toward goodness until there is nothing they do that is not good, they will end up at ultimate good. If they correct faults they have, and keep correcting them until there is nothing faulty in them, they will finally become impeccable. Taking to good means being able to be firm. Correcting faults means being able to be flexible. Firmness must be like the powerful, direct action of thunder. Flexibility must be like the gentle, gradual advance of wind. Being vigorous, one can enter into goodness. Being easygoing, one can be without fault. Firmness and flexibility complement each other. What was there before returns, and what occurred later disappears. The primal is restored, and the acquired dissolves. By this enhancement, one reaches ultimate good with no evil, the stage of complete integration with the celestial design. So the work of taking to good and correcting faults is no small matter. Jaws, supporting hexagram 27. Mountain above, thunder below. There is thunder beneath the mountain. Superior people are careful about what they say, and moderate in eating and drinking. Jaws has the meaning of taking nourishment. Above is mountain, below is thunder. There is thunder beneath the mountain. A mountain is still, thunder is active. Using stillness to nurture activity, activity being based on stillness, is like the upper jaw being still while the lower jaw moves, stillness awaiting movement. This is the image of jaws, meaning nourishment. What the superior people see in this is that the mouth is a passageway through which things may exit or enter, and it is the door of right and wrong, the root of calamity and fortune. Therefore they are careful about what they say, and they are moderate in eating and drinking. Speech is the voice of the mind. When speech is correct, the mind is correct, and when speech is incorrect, the mind is incorrect. Every word should be spoken only if it is of benefit to the course of the world and to people's minds. Speech should be guarded and not uttered at random. Food and drink are important to the body. If food and drink are appropriate, they benefit the body, and if food and drink are not appropriate, they harm the body. Food and drink should be taken only after consideration of the reason. One should not crave too much, and should be moderate in eating and drinking. When one is careful of speech, then the mind has nourishment. When one is moderate in eating and drinking, then the body has nourishment. When mind and body both have their nourishment, inside and outside are free from injury, then nature and life can be cultivated. This is what is meant by the saying, when one eats at proper times, the body is healthy. When one acts at the appropriate moment, the course of affairs runs smoothly. Hexagram 42 from Hilary Barrett's I-ming, Walking Your Path, Creating Your Future. Increasing. Key questions. What would you do if you knew you were blessed? What if there were no limits? What could change for the better? Oracle. Increasing, fruitful to have a direction to go, fruitful to cross the great river. The old Chinese character for increasing shows a pot filled to overflowing. It means blessing and superabundance, like the timely rain that brings a rich harvest. Increase simply flows without limit. There is no need for restrictive frameworks to contain it, but only for tools to work with it. When you are blessed, it is good to respond with purpose and movement, participating in the increase, pouring more in. You receive more in return. Let yourself imagine where you want to be and take the first steps that commit you to going there. This is how to keep the momentum. Image. Wind and thunder increasing. A noble one sees improvement, and so she changes. When there is excess, she corrects it. Wind and thunder are agents of change. Thunder is like the inner spark of initiative and will. Wind is a far-reaching influence in the world, free-moving because of its endless ability to shape itself to the terrain. So the noble one moves as decisively as thunder and with the versatility of the wind. She does not hold fast to a chosen direction, but responds to whatever opportunities for improvement she can see. Sequence. Increasing follows from Hexagram 41, decreasing. Decreasing and not reaching an end must mean increasing. Decrease is the offering, emptying out the vessel. Increase is the blessing, the pot filled to overflowing. There is the willingness to have less and make things simpler, and the willingness to receive more and become richer. Each phase leads into the other, moving in a cycle. (27) Nourishment. Key questions. What would nourish you? How is your hunger motivating you? If you accept this as nourishment, who will you become? Oracle. Nourishment. Constancy brings good fortune. See the jaws. Your own quest for something real to fill your mouth. Literally, this hexagram is called jaws. It means not only what you eat, but all the processes and structures that sustain nourishment. It includes all forms of nourishment: physical, social, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, all creating and recreating an individual ecosystem to sustain and shape you. Constancy brings good fortune. Steady, clear persistence in honoring what truly sustains you. Yi calls on you to see the jaws, to become aware. How do you habitually nourish yourself and others? What deep instincts are at work here? What real nourishment are you seeking? Image. Below the mountain is thunder, nourishment. A noble one reflects on his words and conversation, and is discriminating about what he eats and drinks. The sound of thunder under the mountain echoes and re-echoes, and is slow to fade away. The words you speak are the same. You put them into circulation, and they become part of the constant flow of nourishment among people. The same flow that nourishes you in the end. A noble one pays careful attention to both giving and receiving, how he nourishes others, and what he will accept as nourishment from others. You don't have to swallow every opinion you are offered. Sequence. Nourishment follows from Hexagram 26, Great Taming. Things are tamed, and so there can be nurturing, and so nourishment follows. Nourishment means nurturing. Naturally, to nourish people, you need good farmers. The truths you choose to nurture and cultivate in your life become the foundation of your personal ecosystem. They are your basic nourishment and the energy source for your creative action. Pair. Nourishment is paired and contrasted with Hexagram 28, Great Exceeding. Nourishment nurtures correctly. Great Exceeding overbalances. To grow into your whole self, you create a harmonious, balanced cycle of mutual nourishment. Yet this growth will eventually outgrow the framework that sustained it. The context for our changing line 5 will be strength and self-determination, clear vision, being in command, and is the most focused part of our reading. Line 5 of, that's Hexagram 41, line 5 of 42, increasing. True and confident, with a benevolent heart, no question, good fortune from the source. Truth, confidence, and benevolence are my own strength. This is the heart of increasing and blessing. When you are completely present to the flow of nourishing energy, when what you send out into the world is free, true, and generous, then there is nothing more you need to ask. It is safe to give. You can trust that what you send out is the source of what returns to you. This has the power to recreate the whole circulation that sustains you. Truth and benevolence are the living essence of who you are. We'll read chapter 39 from the Tao Te Ching, translated by Jia Fu Fang and Jane English. These things from ancient times arise from one. The sky is whole and clear. The earth is whole and firm. The spirit is whole and strong. The valley is whole and full. The 10,000 things are whole and alive. Kings and lords are whole, and the country is upright. All these are in virtue of wholeness. The clarity of the sky prevents its falling. The firmness of the earth prevents its splitting. The strength of the spirit prevents its being used up. The fullness of the valley prevents its running dry. The growth of the 10,000 things prevents their dying out. The leadership of kings and lords prevents the downfall of the country. Therefore the humble is the root of the noble. The low is the foundation of the high. Princes and lords consider themselves orphaned, widowed, and worthless. Do they not depend on being humble? Too much success is not an advantage. Do not tinkle like jade or clatter like stone chimes.